Welcome everyone back to the channel. If you are enjoying the content that I'm putting up here and you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Today, however, we are going to be getting right into it. We are visiting the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, and this is for the Day Out with Thomas event. He actually took my kids here. Not the biggest Thomas fan, I'm more into like the actual trains themselves, but there's some really cool things at this museum to go see. And as you'll see here, we're going to take a look at some of their current static displays, and pretty soon here, shortly later in the video, we're going to take a look at some of their actual operating displays, including one of their operating steam trains, which we were able to ride. It was a ton of fun, but as you can see, they've got a number of historic pieces here. One that's really cool that we'll come up with here in a moment. But as you can kind of see, they have some steam, they've got some diesel, they've got some old stuff, they've even got some new stuff. Just basically everything you can imagine. So if you are in the Tennessee area, or in the Chattanooga area, make sure you check this museum out. It is very cool. And actually, what I really liked here was this Wilson boxcar that matches one of the ones that we have on the HO layout. But this right here is one of the really cool features. So this was the Fairbanks Morris, what they call the baby model, basically, of the H24-66s that made 2,400 horsepower. This one only made 16. It's literally the only one that was ever made, the only one that exists, and they're very blessed to have this. But we're going to go ahead and take a look here at one of their operating steam locomotives, one that's pulling passenger trains today, and it's just a joy to watch. So let's just hear all the sights and sounds. Now, one of the really cool things about this museum is that you do get to ride a lot of these pieces of living history. Each and every one of the actual coaches, they're all historic. Obviously, 4501 itself, very old steam locomotive. Just some really cool stuff all the way around. So, like I said, if you're in the area, do check it out. It's right outside of Chattanooga. Now, of course, we're here for Thomas, and today they actually brought Percy as well. I was really excited. My 6-year-old was really excited about that too. So we came here to have a really good time, and we rode. They had 4 trains, and normally they have like 1 train running at a time. Today they had 4 trains running, and we're going to take a look at all of these today. Just very cool models. But if you're not familiar with how this works, basically the Day Out with Thomas, they have these life-size scale models of Thomas, and as you can see here, Percy, that are very cool. And for the younger viewers watching, I'm not going to spoil the magic. These are just really awesome, fun locomotives to watch just move up and down the yard. Now this one here, this is actually the dinner train. This was the 4th train running. This actually, as you can see right now, is departing for the 6 p.m. dinner run. I personally have not ridden this one yet. This is one of those that, you know, I would recommend leaving the kids at home. And not only the price of the meal, but also, you know, I guess the ambience or whatever just kind of doesn't seem like it would lend itself to children very well. This is probably more of an adult ride, but still a very cool addition. So they were running the 4501 that we saw just a moment ago. Obviously, here we are on Percy, actually as the 4501 is approaching. So let's check this out.
Here he comes.
Here he comes.
Hi.
Wave to the engineer. So as you can see, as we were riding on the Percy train, which funny enough was our 3rd and final train of the day, we actually got to see the 4501 oncoming. It was very cool. And these actually run with an actual operational and historic turntable at the end of the run. So they actually turn the trains around, pick up what was the first car becomes the last car, so on and so forth. Very, very cool. Well, one of the features that I love about this, and you guys know I'm into model railroading, is these people bring out, one of the Garden Railroad clubs bring out all these G-scale Thomas trains and some other random G-scale trains. But it's so cool that they actually do this because, you know, they don't really have to, and it's such a cool addition. You can see Percy's running around with Toby on the outside and Emily running around the outer perimeter. Thomas was kind of over there doing his own thing for a moment. But one of my absolute favorite features of this is, well, there's Emily again. Here in the center, you're going to see a series of these kind of like egg-shaped cars. Those are literally called egg liners. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, the whole original story about those was, we'll see him here again in a moment, was somebody at, I believe, Aristocrat, when that still existed, had two ends of observation cars and just stuck them together and was kind of like a what-if scenario. Apparently there's something similar out there, but there was never actually an operating one. These are just, you know, very fun, inexpensive little trinkets for your garden railroad, if anything can be called inexpensive on a garden railroad. Let's be frank about that. As someone who has aided in running a garden railroad, it is anything but inexpensive. But here we see all the happy people running it and the insane number of power supplies and all that. I really like to get into how these things operate and how these function. So one of the most recent additions they've actually had to the museum here is this, it looks kind of empty now, but this is this kind of warehouse area that they're building up. It's kind of like they've had all the trains outside, they've got all the, you know, museum pieces, so to speak, but now they've actually got some stuff indoors. They've got, as you can see, some signaling here and some seating and all kinds of really interesting things with a lot of the documented history on these. So it's very cool. In fact, you'll actually see over here 4501 and actually I believe the 630 is the one on the turntable I was telling you about earlier. But it's such a very cool place to visit, guys. If you are in the Tennessee Valley, Chattanooga area, just make sure you stop in. It's worth it. It is just a fun ride. Now, for those of you guys that actually missed, there's a video on my channel entitled These Crazy People Brought a Train to a Car Show. Literally it's at a car show. And that's how I found out about this Narcoa event. And basically what it is, these rail speeders that you see here, people actually purchase these, own these. Now this is obviously privately owned by the museum. But there's a group of crazy people out there that actually purchase and operate and run rail speeders. It's just the wildest and craziest thing. If you really want to go check that video out, I'll if I remember to, I'll put a link in the description down below, but very cool. And finally, after all that, we're going to get to this is Lionel scale. This is O scale layout. This is not kind of our typical, normally we do like HO, even some N. But believe it or not, I actually do have some Lionels. I have some rolling stock and some track. I actually don't have any locomotives, funny enough. But, you know, just, I don't know how I came into ownership of it. I've got all kinds of crazy stuff. I think we've got just about everything of everything. It's a cool little layout here. I mean, what is a railroad museum without some kind of a model railroad? And as you guys know, this channel is pretty much dedicated to model railroading, so I think this is just a really cool addition that they made. And this was just actually opened only recently. You know, it's a miracle, honestly, because they say that so many of these museums are absolutely going to shut down. They're not going to be in operation after COVID. And to see that this one's not only operating but thriving and expanding, you know, amidst what really is just been the end of a lot of industries and a lot of companies and things like that, is just really impressive. So it's just it just shows you the kind of love and care that they put into this. So it's just so absolutely cool. But pretty much, guys, that is going to be the video. Hopefully you did enjoy this today. I didn't get a chance to shoot a huge amount of Thomas and Percy, mostly because, honestly, it's just a lot of kids, and I don't feel comfortable filming other people's children. But if you do have little ones, or even if you yourself are a fan of Thomas and Percy and all them, make sure you absolutely look for this Day Out with Thomas event. It is so much fun. You get to actually ride the Thomas train. In this case, we got to ride the other trains too. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, make sure that you hit that old thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and don't forget, growing old might be inevitable, growing up might be optional, but playing trains, that is mandatory.